When you understand how to use sensory details, it probably becomes the most important thing that improves your writing. Sensory details is also called imagery, and what that basically is that it puts a picture of what you're writing into the reader's head. It puts an image into their head. Now this is important because if in your story you're trying to make it more realistic and you have sound, well, that's like somebody singing. If little bells are dangling and banging around, you want to be able to describe that. You want to be able to describe thunder, lightning, what words make that sound in your writing. Cars honking, beeping. What are the words that you could use to help your story? Water running in the background. All of that adds to help create this picture in people's minds. What are the sounds of the waves in the background of the story that are going on? Booming, crash, purring, squeal, and wail. And depending on what image you're trying to create for sound, those are various sounds. Now, when we're trying to create images, we use more than just one sense, so we also do that. Smell is the next one that I'm covering. If somebody's cooking bacon, when you walk into a room and nobody tells you we're cooking bacon, how do you know that there's bacon cooking on the stove? Now, if somebody describes the words that could describe that smell to you, then you would be able to picture that into your head just from remembering the smells that you're familiar with. Flowers. If somebody was to give you some flowers, what smell would that be like? Coffee, or maybe some strong perfume. What are those smells? A scented candle is also another one that would create some sort of smell. Now, you're looking for words that describe it without actually telling the reader what it is that you're trying to get across. Well, what are some smell words that we can take a look at? For smell, we have putrid, rotten, peppery, smoky, and sweet. And smell words tend to be really good for bringing back memories. But one of the most popular ones is sight. And sight, you have to really take a look at what you're trying to describe to see what's going on in your story. What is it that you're trying to describe? What is it that stands out? Like, is somebody sweating in the story? You know, in our picture here, we have this dark and gloomy forest that's going on. What are some words that you could describe it? What are some words that you could use to describe bright flowers on a hat, or the smile, or the color of the teeth, the color of the eyes, the color of the flowers, the texture of how things look? What is it? You can describe the ripples in the water, the color of the sky, the trees. You can describe what in the winter down at the docks, what is that like? Or even a sunset, being able to describe the colors and the shapes of the clouds and the things that you see are what's going to be creating this imagery as people read what you have to say. Even describing the graffiti on a wall. Trying to tell what the words look like, the shapes that they have, the colors that are used. That's using sight to inform people to get your scenery, to be able to see your picture in their head instead of you just talking about it. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of sight words that might go with a story. Some like sight, where we have blonde, bloody, blinding, crinkled, or crooked. And sight words are most commonly used. Another one is touch. Touch is really important because as you start describing some of these things, the softness or the roughness, prickliness, you know, whatever you're describing is telling people, well, what do you feel? It's more, you know, it brings them in because they felt similar things. What is it to feel hot or cold or soft, you know, something soft? What is that like? Describe it, it puts that into people's heads, and then they go ahead and can envision what you have to say. So an example of some things that you might use in your story, instead of actually just saying that the rock was rough, what are some other things that you might be able to say in your story? For touch, we have bumpy, chilly, sharp, silky, or uneven. and that was touch. The very last sensory detail has to do with taste. Now, if you describe taste correctly, you'll get people's mouth watering while they read your story, or they'll get hungry or thirsty, wanting what's in your story, or they'll be pulled in because of this sour taste in the mouth or whatever they've experienced it before and know what you're talking about. Taste is the very last one, and we'll take a look at a few words to do with different kinds of taste. For taste, we have ripe, salty, stale, you can even use tasteless, and bitter. And hey guys, that's the overview of how sensory details work. So hopefully you got an understanding, and we'll take a look at how you can apply those things into your writing.